One sailor became curious about a hidden secret aboard a warship. Hours later, a deadly accident shocked the entire crew. But was it really an accident, or something far more sinister? Where forgotten wartime mysteries come alive. The secret in the stoker's box. The sharp whistle of the boatswain echoed through the steel corridors of the warship. Hands to coal ship. Within seconds, the crew of the cruiser sprang into motion. Men rushed from their mess decks wearing old canvas clothing, worn gloves, and handkerchiefs tied around their heads to keep the coal dust from their hair. Coaling a warship was one of the hardest and dirtiest jobs in the Navy, but it had to be done quickly. Among the stokers was James Jorkler, a quiet sailor known throughout the ship as Rhino. He was tall, thin, and strangely expressionless. Most of the crew could never decide whether he was clever, dangerous, or simply odd. He rarely joked with anyone and kept mostly to himself. Jorkler had joined the Navy only a few months earlier after claiming to be a Canadian sailor from New Brunswick. His papers appeared genuine, and during wartime the Navy needed men badly, so few questions were asked. Still, something about him unsettled people. As the other stokers hurried on deck, Jorkler stayed behind near his storage box. He quickly unlocked it and searched through his belongings for something hidden beneath his clothes. Before he could finish, a deep voice interrupted him. "What have you got there, mate?" Jorkler spun around sharply. Standing behind him was leading stoker Smith, a strong and experienced sailor, respected by the crew. "Nothing important," Jorkler replied nervously while closing the box. Smith narrowed his eyes. "Looks suspicious to me," he said bluntly. "After we're done coaling, I'm going to take a proper look." For the first time, fear flickered across Jorkler's face. Whatever was inside that box clearly mattered a great deal to him. Without another word, both men headed up to the deck. Outside, cold rain fell steadily over the harbor. Powerful lamps illuminated the massive warship as coal barges moved alongside her hull. Thick ropes, steam winches, and giant derricks were prepared for the exhausting task ahead. Then the order came. "Carry on!" Chaos erupted instantly. Steam hissed through the air, while cranes lifted heavy sacks of coal onto the deck. Sailors shouted warnings, dragged sacks across slippery steel, and emptied them into the ship's bunkers below. Within minutes, everyone was covered in black dust from head to toe. Even the officers joined the work, preferring labor over standing still in the freezing rain. The ship trembled from the noise of machinery and the pounding of coal sacks. It was dangerous work, and accidents were common when crews rushed to break loading records. Jorkler worked silently among the others, but his thoughts never left the locked box below deck. Hours later, a problem suddenly stopped the operation. A wire cable on one of the main loading derricks had slipped loose high above the coal lighter. "Someone needs to go up there," shouted an officer. Before anyone else moved, leading stoker Smith grabbed the hanging rope and signaled for the winch operator to raise him. The crew watched as Smith climbed higher and higher into the rain-filled darkness, dangling dangerously above the deck. At that moment, Jorkler was operating the steam winch. As Smith neared the top, an officer raised his arm. "Stop the winch," but the machine kept turning. Several sailors shouted in alarm. Smith suddenly realized the danger. The rope was being pulled completely through the pulley above him. "Stop winding," voices screamed. Still the winch continued. Whether through panic, confusion, or something darker, Jorkler fumbled with the controls while Smith desperately searched for something to hold on to. For one terrifying second, Smith managed to grab a short rope hanging from the derrick. Then it snapped. The sailors below watched helplessly as the leading stoker plunged through the air. He struck part of the coal barge below with a terrible crash. Men rushed to help him immediately, but the fall had killed him instantly. Silence spread across the ship. The rain continued falling, while the crew stared in shock. An officer stormed toward Jorkler. "What happened?" Jorkler lowered his head and pretended to struggle for words. "The machine jammed, sir," he muttered. "I tried to stop it." The officer looked furious, but there was no clear proof of wrongdoing. A few minutes later, the grim work resumed. Warships could not delay for tragedy, but beneath his mask of regret, Jorkler felt something very different. Relief. The one man who had shown interest in the hidden object inside his storage box was now dead. The following day, an official inquiry declared the incident an unfortunate accident. Witnesses described the dangerous conditions and confusion during the coaling operation. The verdict was simple: accidental death. Leading stoker Smith was buried with full naval honors. Rifle volleys echoed over his grave as his shipmates paid their respects. And deep within the ship, hidden safely inside a locked storage box, Jorkler's secret remained undiscovered. Whatever he had been hiding, he clearly believed it was worth more than a man. man's life, a hidden secret, a tragic fall, and a mystery that was never truly solved. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies aboard a warship are not outside, but within. If you enjoyed this dark naval mystery, like, subscribe, and join us for more untold stories.